I'm curious if like cracks are starting to show in that company, and maybe the company is falling apart a little bit. Like, and this is the first signal that we're getting for that, or this and the Steam Deck price increase might be the first signal of that. I guess we'll see years down the road if that's the case. Like, I think Valve has always had an issue with like organization, like that. I mean, they're famous because what they're like, they're a flat hierarchy. They're non-hierarchical would be the correct way to say that.
They're kind of like a little commune where everyone has jobs and they just go to each other and work and no one's really in charge.
Yeah, and like I think that might be an interesting idea that like works well for like building out a gaming ecosystem, because it's just like people have ideas like, well, what would I want to do with Steam? And then like they work with some of the people at Valve and they build out that feature on Steam. But you know, it works for that, and maybe it doesn't work for building a single mass marketed device.
All right, so I actually now want to do a whole spiel where I outline both what I would have done if I was Valve when the Rampocalypse takes off, you know, the whole OpenAI thing, and that kicked off everyone else buying RAM and yada, yada, yada. And then also explain why I don't think they did it. What I would have done after announcing the Steam machine, whenever they did, I think in October of 2025, the second I saw RAM exploding in price, I would have scrambled to buy up as much as you can. Hoof it. You have all of these people at Valve that's a non-hierarchical company. Work together and go to Best Buys and Micro Centers and start buying up the RAM. This is something that I reported on. Apparently, the big AI companies were doing, is sending employees to Best Buys and seeing if they could leave with a shopping cart of RAM. And if they would have done this, which is clearly basically all they're doing now anyways, when it's even more expensive, people forget that when this first started, 16 gigabyte kits were substantially cheaper than they are right now. It was really this 32 and especially 64 and 128 gigabyte kits that just immediately went away and doubled, quadrupled in price. The 16 gigabyte kits weren't that bad at first. So I think if they would have went out there and done this, I am sure they could have gotten enough RAM for 5,000 units or something. And that's not what they did. And if you look, Gamers Nexus found that the RAM stick in the Steam machine was like a recently manufactured model. Valve bought at the peak of RAM pricing, or at least close. It was what I think will be close to what I believe the peak is going to end up being. Once you do that, though, you, as fast as you can, try to do it right before Christmas, launch 5,000 machines, and you price them at $599. Yes, with a controller. And then you announce FSR4 support is coming. A lot more is coming. This is kind of a beta soft launch period, but we're going to launch it now before Christmas, or whatever the soonest could have been. I don't know, from software, maybe the beginning of January, something like that. And that's it. And, you know, 5% of these will probably go to reviewers, but you will have a good device that gets good reviews and that people like. And at the end of the day, this really accomplishes everything you wanted to do for the two big things that it was really for. The first thing the Steam machine is for is to get real devices out there with SteamOS so people can beta test it in a desktop platform and they can iterate on SteamOS and get data and make it better and better and better. So SteamOS is just better no matter who is using it to install on a device to compete with Windows. This would have accomplished that early anyways. And two, it's just a giant PR stunt. I'm sorry, you can afford to sell things. And again, remember, the RAM would have been, and SSDs would have been cheaper back then. They should have just bought them back then, even if they had to go to Best Buy. And, you know, whatever. You don't need millions of sales to have a big marketing push here where all the reviewers say it's great and then it sells out at Christmas and it's whatever. Now it's all hyped up. It got good reviews. The people who managed to get it are happy. It's sold out. Everyone's refreshing their news feed in quarter one. When's it going to come back in stock? And then you say, I'm sorry, we did our best last quarter. And here's what we're going to do. We're releasing, and openly say it, we don't think this is a good deal. We're releasing at double the price because we know this will not lose us money. We think that throughout the year, a $1,200 2 terabyte model, maybe even have them signed by Gabe Newell, whatever you can do, have it come with $100 store credit, have it come with a founder's badge you can put on Steam that you'll never be able to get again unless you're one of the people that buys this. Whatever you can do to leverage it and make it clear, this is really for collectors. And we sold the ones at $600 we could. This is for collectors because of the price of RAM and whatever. But don't worry, we also have a $450 bare bones edition that you can get right now as well. And that's what we got. The collector's edition, that's insane, but it's for collectors. The $450 model that's bare bones, A lot of you will have an old laptop, or you'll be able to get a RAM for a good deal on Craigslist or something and finish this thing. And we will do limited runs at $600 whenever we can. And maybe it's rare, but it's going to be like the store supreme. It's like, oh no, a new drop's coming, and people will get excited, and this will generate PR, and you'll just do like 100 at a time. You're probably still losing money on them, but that's what you do. Meanwhile, people get the collector's one that you're profiting off of. And there's a bare bones model as well that, you know, a lot of people will just get instead. And I think this would have worked. This would have accomplished what I believe all of their goals had to have been. Their goals were to get SteamOS boxes out there so they can innovate and update the software with real world testing. This would have done that. And the reason I think they didn't do this is a few. First, I think they were grossly arrogant and misread the market. I think it's becoming abundantly clear when we look at Gabe Newell buying his mega yacht and his mansion in Florida. Look, this isn't like eat the rich nonsense. I think he's distracted and doesn't really care about Steam anymore. Like, this launch tells me it's very clear he's trying to retire on his yacht, and good for him. He built Steam. I like Steam, but it's clear he's not really in charge. They thought they were immortal, that they couldn't take a PR blow, that everyone would love them no matter what. I think that's clearly wrong. And then they also thought they could wait this out for 3 months. I don't know who told them that was a good idea, because even me, someone who's kind of an optimist on where the AI bubble is going to pop, I've been saying, no, I think 26 is going to suck. So I don't know why they thought they could wait just 3 months. And really, someone should be hired or fired over this. Either if they're going to keep doing product launches, they need someone there who knows what they're doing and can negotiate better than G-Skill, who apparently negotiates better than them and is a 100th the size of their company. Or they need to fire the person who can't do it and get someone else. And then the final thing I'll say, that this is, you know, why didn't they do the bare bones right away? And they might eventually, but why didn't they do that in this? I don't think it's just the RAM price, guys. If they're this incompetent at getting the RAM, if Gamers Nexus is opening this up and it's the most expensive kit you could have gotten in the most expensive month, I think they're single sourcing the SSD to also use with the Steam Deck. We've already seen that that's like some $400 to $500 thing in the 2 terabyte model that is needlessly small, so they can use it for both devices. And I think they got screwed over on the PCB costs. They're too small. I mean, really think about how small it is. Did it have to be 6 by 6 by 6 inches? Couldn't it have been 8 by 8 by 8 inches? And then it would have been easier to service, which everyone's going to have to because it doesn't have enough RAM and it's single channel. It's killing performance. Like, couldn't they have just, like, when the Rampocalypse happened, if they were serious, they really needed to make a change. They should have said, the tooling's not done. If we can do it, we're going to make it 7 by 7 by 7, make it easier to access the RAM. We're going to do this different thing I said. But they didn't. That's what happened. That's what I would have done. And they didn't do it because no one was paying attention. And I believe they were just arrogant. That's what I think went wrong. That's the final thing I want to close on here today is I really don't think Valve gets the momentum they may have just killed before they start working on a Steam Deck 2, because this can really be damaging. And before you're going to announce the Steam Deck 2, before you do that, you just put a horrible taste in everybody's mouth and convinced everybody you can't manage hardware. And so I really, really, really hope they learn from this. Again, if they don't fire someone, they need to hire someone else to work there, because they have the Steam frame coming out. The Steam controller just came out. It does seem like they're hell-bent on launching some piece of hardware every few years. Someone needs to be in charge of this that can manage it better than they have. Because if it doesn't feel like things are turning around soon, no one's going to care about the Steam Deck 2. And by the way, Steam Deck 2 is going to be competing with the PS6 handheld.
Yeah, I don't think like they've lost all goodwill, and I think the Steam Deck 2 has a chance to still be received really well. But yeah, people are going to be going into looking at the Steam Deck 2 now with their arms crossed a little bit, like, okay, well, let's see if you can actually repeat the success of making a device, because you guys failed. But they have the chance to still turn it around and make it not look like luck if they hire somebody, learn from this mistake, like, hey, guys, we're not good at this. If we want to keep doing this, we need a team that knows how to design hardware, because we are not a hardware company, very clearly.
Yeah, I think we're about to find out if they're at all serious about this. If you are optimizing your PC for the highest frame rates, network bottlenecks can be one of the most annoying things that you need to mess with, which is exactly where Exit Lag comes in. This piece of content is sponsored by Exit Lag. Exit Lag is a software utility that reduces ping and mitigates the risk of disconnections, and it includes tools specifically built to improve your frames per second. It stabilizes your connection by utilizing exclusive patented technologies, including multipath connections and AI route optimization. Also, the infrastructure backing this thing is extensive, connecting you to more than 4,000 games through over 1,200 servers spread across 5 continents and 190 countries. The software is built for all level of users, meaning you can leave it on automatically in an automatic mode for an immediate optimization, or manually adjust the advanced settings with the backing of their dedicated technical support team. Of course, if you want to make it just perfect and tinker, which of course many gamers like doing that sort of thing. And actually, right now they are running a special offer for a new subscription on any of their annual plans, which includes the solo, duo, and squad options. By using the link in the description, you can save up to 50% off the annual subscription, and they're including 1 month of Discord Nitro Basic for free. You can check out the link in the description below to get the discount and secure a stable connection that will also support Moore's Law is Dead today.